Good morning. I don't even know what time it is anymore. It's after 1 a.m. On Saturday morning. Really, this is the continuation of our Friday evening reconvening to complete the work of the annual conference. So the good news is we have finally finished all of the work, but we reconvened about 10:30 or so, and we have been working. There was some excitement as we gathered back. There was a concern, kind of a realization that because of some language added to the 2016 Book of Discipline about the election of delegates, that our action to take the remaining people and elect a slate was possibly unconstitutional. And so to make sure we weren't unconstitutional, we retook all of the votes, beginning with for our general conference delegations, the 6 clergy, which myself and the last 2 laity who were elected did not have 50% vote on the ballot that we closed out that. So we revoted all of our delegates. In the end, all of our general conference delegations stayed the same for clergy and laity, and our jurisdictional delegations stayed the same. The ordering changed a little bit. The general conference clergy delegation stayed the same. The jurisdictional clergy delegation delegates reordered a little bit. So the clergy jurisdictional delegates, as elected, Stacey Cole Wilson, J.W. Park, Conrad Link, Leo Yates, Kirkland Reynolds, Bryant Osvig. When we re-elected our general conference laity delegates, they just swapped places. And so Daniel Colbert was elected 5th and Sarah Ford 6th. And then actually the lay jurisdictional delegation stayed in the same order. So Chris Schlieckert, Christy Latona, Tracy Collins, Sharon Milton, Nathan Jones, Chet Jachuna, and Jachura. And then we elected 4 clergy and 4 laity alternates to jurisdictional conference. The clergy alternates in order: Edgardo Rivera, Malcolm Frazier, Laura Norvell, Melissa Rudolph. And the lay alternates: Mitty Quinn, Charlie Moore, Utemba Pembamoto, and Heather Kraus. And so those are our full delegation, and we celebrate all of those folks who are willing to serve. They will begin meeting in the fall, and again, this is the year that our first clergy elected is the head of the delegation, and so that will be Ianther Mills. Other work that was done in this final session included the closure of churches, and all of those closures were approved. There were 2 churches where there were specifications added about the use of the money, and that was really around discussion of making sure that churches from African-American communities, African-American churches, was preserved for the use of African-American congregations, especially with some concern about what might happen at the 2012 General Conference and wanting to preserve those funds. And so there were 3 church closures that attempts were made to amend the statement to say that that money, the money from the sale of those properties and any assets, could not be used until after 2020, and then would be, and at any rate, would be directed for African-American congregations. That amendment on 2 of the churches was approved. On a 3rd was not. There was some additional speeches against, including by the district superintendent, because the wording of the amendments seemed to prevent those monies from being used at all until after the 2020 General Conference. And so in the case where the amendment wasn't approved, the district superintendent specifically said, there are churches, African-American churches, that need that money now. And so so that's how that ended. All those churches closed, but with 2 of the churches, that money was directed to be held by the trustees for African-American churches till after the 2020 General Conference. And then the discipleship report, which had been pulled off the consent calendar, which it was clarified really should never have been on the consent calendar because of the actionable items it had. That was approved with a minor amendment to the restructure. That included the conference restructure, and there was an amendment to add a I forget the language.
LGBTQIA justice.
LGBTQI justice position to the advocacy board as part of the connectional table. We're just all delirious. Here's the thing. We're so delirious right now.
Me too.
My husband, my videographer, we're all tired. It was getting punchy, but folks hung in. Some people had food delivered. Whoops. And we're tired. We're just tired. But we really wanted to remain committed to get the work done so that we really could preserve all of our Saturday time for our young people's presentation. And so we did that. That's why we worked so hard. We had folks coming back from the Orioles games. And so we had folks, shout out to those folks who were commissioned and ordained, who after the ordination service came back to be part of the work of the body. Finally, the nominations report was presented and received, and that included the naming of our new conference secretary and a player to be named later. There'll be an assistant conference secretary, but that person's name wasn't lifted before the body at this time. So that's the work that was done. That completes the work of the 2019 annual conference session of the Baltimore-Washington Conference. Tomorrow there will be lots of celebration of our young people's ministry in the Baltimore-Washington Conference, as well as a celebration of confirmands this year. So thanks for hanging in. I actually hope you're not watching this live. I hope you get to watch it later to get the update. I hope everybody gets sleep. We will be gathering at 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's today. We'll be gathering at 9 a.m. We'll be gathering at 9 a.m. To begin our young people's ministry celebration. So have a good sleep.